So this video is episode 2 of the Tamiya TC-01 build with me and Miles. And I wanted to basically give you a little bit of background. When I was 12 years old, I went to Florida, and on the way to Florida we stopped at a hobby shop. And my dad bought me a Sin Racing SP1 EP. And it was the same exact car that he's building here. Now, the underbelly of the car, you know, the whole suspension geometry, even the brand of the car, Tamiya, is different than Sin, but the body of the car is the same. So that is the story behind why I wanted him to build this as his first RC car, because it was also my first RC car. Now, brushed was a thing back then, and now everything is brushless. So this is the kit that we got for Miles' build, which we went for a really high quality drive assembly. Go ahead and open them up, buddy.
Alrighty.
There's 2 boxes in there. They slide out of that big box. There's the beautiful Castle Copperhead tin.
I like the little snake.
Isn't that cool? That is so cool. All right, I want to do something. Let's hold it up back to back and let's see.
The other one's wider, but this one's
bigger. That's exactly what we needed it. So the other one was like 2 millimeters wider, and if we look at this, you can see that that's about the gap we needed. So it's essentially longer but narrower, and we needed that 2 millimeters. When we were speccing out ESCs, this one I thought would fit, and I literally thought that I could have taken it to the sander and sanded the sides down and made it fit. But for quality, we decided to go with a high-end Castle system. And I haven't seen very many reviews on YouTube regarding the Copperhead tin, and I almost went with the Micro X2, but I didn't know if the Micro X2 was specifically made for crawlers. I wish they had a little bit more details on it. I didn't know what the amp draw of was the Micro X2 either. It would fit in this chassis a whole lot easier, but this one right here seemed like the maximum size, and it still seemed like it had like the amp draw ability. So 2S and 3S, and this is a 4S capable ESC, which is awesome. This should, in theory, fit a whole lot better. Check that out. All I literally had to do was loosen those 4 screws a little bit more. But it got in there. There's a whole lot more room now. Look at that. Instead of 2 millimeters, looks like we have about 4 millimeters. And that's with it pressed all the way down. So now we have plenty of room for the drive shaft. Plenty of room. Yeah, that's perfect. The capacitors are like right in line with the drive shaft, which is actually lower than everything else. I actually prefer this. So we may just run it like that. Oh, check it out, look. They've got an antenna mount on both sides. So neither here nor there, it doesn't matter. All right, so let's do this. So we've got that. Let's see if the receiver fits. Oh, like a glove. Like a frickin' glove. Now that is what I like to see. Love it when a plan comes together. But I will say this, check this out. Look at this right here. See that piece? There is literally no more room. There is no more room. It is wedged in there. Exactly. Like, look, I'm going to push forward on it, and it won't go forward anymore. It's touching this piece right here. But it will, it'll slide. It'll slide. But there's no extra room. That's so crazy. That is so crazy. So the Copperhead tin, in my opinion, is a really good ESC for this. Now what you can see in front of me is the differential. This is out of the rear. I decided to take it back apart because Miles had assembled it, and originally I said I wanted to help him with the diffs. I came home and he already had them assembled. Now, I took them apart because basically the gear that goes on here, he did not have all the 4 bolts tight. He tightened them all the way down, then all the way down, all the way down, and what it did, it left one side high. So he did the same exact thing with the front. So if he did it to the front, why would the rear be any different, right? So I didn't want to go for, any further without checking it while I'm already like this kind of far into it. So luckily we checked it, or we would have probably burned up this gear right here if we didn't check it. So I decided to open up the differential to make sure he had the shims put in there. So he did have the shim put in there, so I'm not concerned about that. But what I was concerned about is these little gears here, and it's no fault to his. I'm going to show you if I can get a pinpointer. See right there? That is from where, let's see if it'll focus. No, it just won't focus. That's basically where these things were sitting and like clipped into the little mount. So it's this little tit right here on the end. So I got to take it. There's a piece right here. You can see it on the end of this one. If you roll this one around, there's a little piece of it right there. And on this one, it's right there. So all you got to do is take your razor knife or whatever, and you could probably do it with a little piece of sandpaper or whatever, but those little pieces have to be cut off because I could feel it. I would roll it and I could feel it catch just in a certain area. And I ended up putting the diff in the drill, holding one side and spinning it, thinking, well, maybe it'll wear itself in. No, it didn't wear in. I could feel it. And I'm like, all right, time to pull the diff open. So luckily, the shims are there. I had a feeling I was going to find it without shims, but he had done it right. There's 2 shims here, and there's 1 shim on this side, and then there's shims on the inside. So he's got that right. The only issue was that he didn't have the big gear tightened correctly. If you watch the first video, I go over that topic, but you can see it right there. And since I've already got it open, we're going to get rid of this plastic gear cross piece, and we're going to put in these metal differential cross shafts. Now, it says it's for the TB04. It's supposed to cross with the TC-01. Let's see. Yep, looks like it'll cross. So that'll be good. I'll be able to take this plastic piece out of the equation and we'll put in the metal pins. That way the rear diff is pretty much bulletproof. And at that point, all we'd have to do is replace the gears for metal gears. But I think the best option is to put these in now since I'm already this far into it. All right, check it out. I got the metal pins in there. Let's see if you can see the gears rotate. Yeah, you can see the gears rotate. That's super cool. Right now they're just kind of resting in there. But I wanted to show you this. Look at all the pieces I got off. All those are pieces off of the end of the gears that I cut off with the razor knife. Especially this big one here. This big one here. What does it do? It comes over here and it gets rested on top of that like so. Gets popped into place. And then that gear gets meshed on top of these, and that's what makes your differential. Well, all 4 of these had pieces on each side, and then this one had it on each side. So there's a lot of excess material that didn't need to be there. But I didn't want to let Miles do this, but I was going to do this when he's not around. I didn't want to discourage him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that the diffs were a very intricate part of the system, a very important part of the system. Look at that. Look at how thick that is. Wow, look at that. It's just sucking right back in there. Ooey gooey, man. Ooey gooey. I took the 500K and I mixed a little bit of the regular with it just to help it blend a little better. Because I'm not sure if running... My opinion would be the thicker your grease is, the more it's going to act like a limited slip differential and not give. If you run it too thick, it may not turn as well. I'm not sure. I'd love your input in the comment section. I am totally new to the car game and especially kits on full assembly. Okay. Screws are lined up. That's good. There's a diff, all put back together. Everything's back in order the way it should be. So what I had, this gear right here was actually what was on crooked. So it's all nice and true now. All right, all put back together. that was a trick. Had to do quite a bit of work to get that all apart, but everything's good to go now. Spins a lot freer. Happy about it because now I have less of a feeling like something will fail during the first initial run. But now that it's all back together, tried fitting the motor, and we're running into another slight problem due to tight fitment. So you can see where the motor is pushing all the way up against the ESC, right? Well, what this does, this prevents the holes from lining up right here. You can kind of see the hole. It's just about a half a screw off. So that's how much we're dealing with there. We're dealing with about 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters. So, I think the plan for trying to use the 3500 kV motor is going to be not possible. Good thing I ordered a 3650 because the 3660, you know, the 50 will give us that little bit of gap. But there's a reason why I ordered it, and there you go. There you go. Now, the 3660 would theoretically fit with the Micro X2. Now, I've seen other people with a similar build, and they use the G10, Hobby Wing Max G10 or whatever. But when I measured that, my ESC here measured the same diameter as the advertised size of that ESC. So I was like, well, you know, I've already got something that's like a knockoff version of that, and it doesn't fit. So I don't really see how it's going to fit, you know. But this Copperhead 10 does fit well. I just have to use the provided motor. So we're not going to be able to use this 3500, which is fine. Which is fine. I think the 3800 is going to give us, you know, all we need anyway. So let me go ahead and pull this off. I need both hands, and we'll outfit the capsule motor. All right, we've got the, what is it, 3660, 3500. Who's that? Queen's Hobbies Racing Products, that old motor. This is basically the kit that you get for a Stampede, a Rustler, a Bandit off of Amazon. I think it was like 79 bucks for the brushless motor in the ESC. Got that about 8 years ago. And then here's the new setup. So this is essentially what it said in the directions you were supposed to put in it. But I saw where others had fitted bigger ones, but you got to have the right size ESC if you're going to fit it in there. But I got that all lined up. Got the gear mesh nice and perfect. Not too tight, not too loose. Put just a little residual grease kind of on the gearing. This is a 24 tooth pinion, and I have no idea what the spur gear is. I don't know if it says it on there. 63 tooth, so 63 and 24. Alright, I'm basically just turning the camera on right now so I get some light. I've got to get down in there for the sensor wire because I forgot to plug it in like a fool. Alright, check it out. Got it all nice, clean, and tidy. All the wires have been pushed down in there. Made sure the steering and everything cleared it. Not sure if I'll use a XT60 or, yeah, probably an XT60, honestly. But what I'm doing now, I'm waiting for my soldering iron to heat up. I'm gonna come over here to my little wooden stool, and we're gonna heat these up, melt them off, shorten them up, and find a good spot for them. In the words of Ironclad, that is D-U-N, done. Got all this excess wire taken off. We don't need it. Thought it was weird how it's like an oddball gauge size, 13 gauge wire. Like, I ain't never seen 13 gauge wire. That's so cray-cray. Look at that. It is 13 gauge wire. Family's crazy right now. Alright, let's see. Space that out nicely. I'll take this and spin it and pop that back on. Okay, we're good there. Take this, give it a little twist, and we gotta pop that on. Come on, here we go. Yeah, hard on the fingers. Hard on the fingers. Hey Miles, we're still. Come here and check it out, buddy. I've gotten to the point where I'm gonna let you do any of the other little stuff. I don't know if there's absolutely anything else that needs to be done, but it's, in my opinion, it's pretty much complete. Here, pick it up and set it on the ground. Set it on the hardwood floor, because on the carpet it's so cool.
What are these random lines for?
Those are going to be your battery connections. I still have to solder on the lead, but we're waiting for the batteries to show up from CNHL to where I can determine which leads we use. But I've got 3 to choose from. But it's very, very neat. That is sick looking. Uh-oh. It's not driving. Something about it's locked up. What's locked up? I think I messed up. I know exactly why it's doing it now. So it makes sense where it'll roll in every other configuration except straight. That's because I think one of the diffs is flipped 180 degrees. I didn't think it would even go in if it was on the wrong side. But I'm going to show you in the directions, and I can't physically see whether it's the front that's reversed or the rear that's reversed, but it's got to go in the right direction, because a gear, it's either going to pull down or it's going to lift up. And if it goes in the opposite direction as the way that it was designed, then it will separate instead of tightening. So I'll show you. So here in the directions, the diff gear, right, and the whole assembly, this goes on the side of the servo. So that would mean right here, the diff gear should be on this side of the car. Come over here to the rear, the diff gear would be flipped onto the opposite side, which would be the side of the motor, okay? So which would mean on the rear of the car, it would be on the rear right. So the diff gear itself would be on the right side here, and it would be on the left side in the front. That is how I'm interpreting this. But I would almost bet money, since in this video I had to fix this diff, I must have put it in backwards. I had no idea that it would even go in backwards. I wouldn't have thought that, you know. I put it in one way, I said, oh no, that doesn't fit. So then I put it in the other way and it actually fit. So I was like, okay, so now I'm contemplating, did I put the rear in backwards, or when I fixed the front, did I put the front in backwards? And I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm going to take off one side and look to see what I can see. I have a feeling it's going to be the rear, so that's the direction I'm going to go. Now that I've got the rear taken apart, so the motor is on this side, right? So the directions said that the gear must be on the front side with the servo side. So the motor side, that means the gear should be on this side. I don't know if y'all can see in here. Oh, there you go. It's not. It's flipped around. I had it around backwards. Totally my fault. 100%. I'm blown away that it goes in upside down. Absolutely blown away. Cannot believe it'll go in both ways. So hopefully if somebody's going to do this project, maybe you can take this little bit of information, it's insight. Don't make that mistake. Okay, well, after about another 45 minutes of taking it back apart again, I figured it out. Got it all put back together. Let's do the moment of truth test. Let's see if it will roll. It should. Yes, it finally rolls. All right, well, it is now the next evening. Went to work, came home, had a package in the mail. Look what we got. We got all of our CNHL batteries. Now, just to let y'all know, these are the only CNHL batteries that I actually own. I've never purchased a set of CNHLs. And I went high and freaking low looking for batteries for this thing. And first, you know, we want to get some SMCs, right? Well, none of the SMC packs either fit or were in stock. So I was kind of SOL on that. But this pack right here kind of blew me away. This is a high voltage, I think, yeah, it's a 2S pack. It's very, very condensed. You know, look at that. It's a 6,400 mile pack that's only about 2/3 of the size of a 8,000 mile pack. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely insane. You know what I mean? But this battery right here actually fits the best in the car. And then the second best fit would be this small 70C 3S pack. I see Big B using these a bunch of times in his hydro, and I actually like them. That's why I bought it. But mainly I was just searching using their filter on CNHL in a specific size, because this car was designed for NiCad or nickel metal hydride. So you have to use that specific size battery. And there's not many LiPo options that are within that range. They're either bigger or they're smaller. And most of the batteries spec out to be 149 millimeters, which that's what this is, and that's what this is. But the battery tray, it would be better if it was like 145 instead of 149. That's really what I was trying to buy. When you Google it and you Google what is the size of a 6-cell nickel metal hydride battery, it tells you. And then you try to cross-reference that over to lithium batteries, and there's not very many options that fall under that exact category. But this right here is supposed to be a NiCad direct replacement, right? When you try to put it in, I'm forcing this thing. Check this out. Like, look, picking the whole car up. That's how much I had to wedge it in. So it still doesn't want to fit. So I'm kind of like upset about that, because this was one of the more expensive batteries. Man, I'm trying to get it out. And this is 100C with a 200 burst. So if I can't use it, I'll end up, I don't know if I'll use it in a boat. Maybe I could use it in a boat, or I could sell it, give it away. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But even though that one doesn't fit as well as I'd like it to, I can still go in here on the bottom of the chassis and sand it down a little bit. I need to look inside of here to make sure, because sometimes you'll have like a little piece catching or something like that. So I'll go in there, do some massaging, see if I can find something, to help free it up a little bit. Because as tight as it is, if it had any swelling at all, you would never get it out. Absolutely never get it out. But then this right here is pretty dope, because it has this style of pin connector, which I've never used these, but I actually like it. That's pretty awesome. I wish they'd start selling these in like 3 and 4S packs, because it's like awesome to really, really shorten down your battery connection length, to where you need it. But we can slide it all the way through, and I could put the pin connections here on the end, or I can slide it through, say, to this side, which is where we're going to go. We slide it right there. We'll put our leads in there, button the lead up nice and tight, and then take this clip here and slides up, and we got perfect fitment. And then those pins would keep the battery from sliding, this way. But it does kind of mess up the CG of the car a little bit, because it's putting the weight on the left-hand side. But neither here nor there. I don't think it'll matter that much. It's just a high voltage 2S pack. So it should pack a little bit more punch than a regular 2S. But what it'll give you, because it's high voltage, it'll give you a lot more runtime. That's what we want. That's what I want for him anyways. Then you come over here. This is going to be our shit and get speed run pack. This is 3S, not 2S. So we're going up in voltage considerable for this car. And being that it's 3,800 kV, she ought to fly. I bet you this is going to be a 60 mile an hour car. Like, no problem. No problem at all. And we've got nice big wires. Like, we've got 10 gauge wires on this battery, which is 70C. And we've got 12 gauge wires on this, which is supposed to be 100C. So what do you think? I think this will probably have a lower overall C rating than this. I'll actually figure that out based on the internal resistance when I put it on the charger. We'll put it on the charger and see which one of the IR values is actually lower. And we'll throw this one on there too and check the IR just to see what it shows. Okay, so we're at the charger. We've got the high voltage 130 pack, and then we've got this one, 100C, regular voltage 8,000. The resistance value on this one, B, is 15. That's kind of high, honestly. Let's go over here. This one, which is the 100C, that resistance value is at an 8 and a 6. Still kind of high. But first time charging them, they're both kind of at 1C rating, I think 6.5 amps. I'm only giving it a little bit of a charge. That one's right around 4.1, which is closing. And let's see, that one's at 3.8, 3.9, so not bad. Whole lot different than the SMC packs. Okay, so here's a 70C 3003S. Let's go. Let's see, we're at 4 volts. Ooh, wow, that's a good battery. That's 5, and 6. Not bad. The others were crazy high. It's crazy that's supposed to be 70C, so that's the lowest C rating. But it actually has the lower resistance value. Kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? Alright, now that we've checked all the batteries, I've got the little high voltage 2S pack in here. Let's turn it on for the first time. I'm just going to kind of wrap these wires up. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so we don't have the controller on. So let's see. This should be it. Alright, lights on. Okay, let's test it. Oh wow, it goes forward. That's so cool. That's full trigger, but the ESC didn't hold solid green. Okay, I'm stupid. I had turned the remote on 50%, that's why it was blinking, but I still went through the same process, set throttle limit, all that stuff, and now we get a full green light when we hit full throttle. This thing's fast right now on 2S, watch. That's insane. I wonder if brakes work. Let's try brakes. Yeah. Alright, free spin works. Let's try free spin with a little brake. Nice. That's super cool. Alright, well, let's see it go on the carpet for the first time. Wow, that's quick. That's about as slow as it can go. That's cray. Alright, let me adjust the steering. Steering's all the way that up. We'll go back this way with it a little bit. It's got really good grip on the hardwood floor. That's cool. I know, baby. Hey, what? What? I know, she wants to attack it. Now, it's been a few days in throughout this project, and now Miles is sick, so he's kind of in the room, and he's on a mend. So he had finished it all up, and we had changed some bumpers around and stuff like that because 2 different versions of the car. But I went ahead and got the plug on. I'll show you some running it in the floor, and I super glued the on-off switch. So we've got that done, and while he was laid up, I went ahead and took the time to finish the body for him. And here's the body. Body looks sick. And it looks absolutely killer on the car. I mean, I am so proud of how it turned out. Got it sitting next to the arrma. It really puts it into perspective, the difference between a 1/10 scale and a 1/7 scale. When you really set them side by side, you can really tell, you know, there's a a big major difference in overall size. But all right, well, there you have it right there. That is sick. It's snowing outside right now, or we'd already have this thing outside doing donuts on the asphalt. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this little build series. It was a blast to do. lots to learn. We both learned a whole lot. He learned a lot, and then I ended up kind of learning on accident. But what a gorgeous, gorgeous model. I just want to thank y'all for watching the series. It'll mean a lot to him if you drop a comment in the comment section and put your guesses on how fast you think this car will go on 2S and how fast you think the car will go on 3S. Drop that in the comment section, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.